I'm going to, I put myself down there as well because I wanted to address this issue. I just want to say that I'm very concerned about the behavior for certain people on this campus by others, and in particular, our administrators in academic affairs. I feel and others feel that they are being targeted for removal from this campus. They're being undermined, they're being circumvented, people are going in and verbally abusing them. And I just want to say that, 6-7 years ago, some of you weren't here, but we had a lot of turmoil in academic affairs. We had 4 VPs in a year. We had Bill Farmer, Maria Feñez, Mark Rocha, and we had Kathleen Burke-Kelly in 1 year. And when academic affairs falls apart and is dismantled, the whole college suffers immensely. And what I'm seeing right here today is, that academic affairs is going to be dismantled. We are losing our ALO, we are losing our VP because she feels she can no longer work effectively on this campus. And to me, that's a very, very sad situation to be in. So I would really urge people, regardless of your differences, whether you don't like somebody because they're black, because they're yellow, because they're a woman or a male or whatever they are, let's try to treat each other with respect. And I also want to say that I recognize the right of the faculty to call a recall. And I welcome that you do it, okay? You have the right to do that. However, I want to say that there's a lot of misinformation that has been spread about my statements. So please read the email from the chancellor. I am going to respond. This is the first time I've seen this. I am going to respond in writing. And let's all be civil about this, okay? And behave like adults. Thank you. All right, so we have a couple of questions. Okay. Jean, Monica, and Jose.
I would like to know those mistakes that you have mentioned. Can you document them, place, time, who witnessed it, where did it occur, whether it was a police report, or are those just rumors? I would like to see the proof that these teens have been actually assaulted, and do you want to distribute that copy? And do you have any of that information?
I do have some of it, but
or is it just hearsay?
No, I do actually have an email, and I have a number of emails from, but I don't think this is the place to or the time to distribute that. Okay, let's see, Monica.
The petition has the email you sent out regarding the Chinese response. It's in the petition that because it always is the fact that the question was asked when you talked to him, and he said no, you didn't, and he said no, but in fact you did. So that's why it's also missing. So just for everyone's information, in your packet, that response is in there.
First of all, let me just say that these signatures predate that email because that email was sent out this morning. So people did not have that information when they signed this. Second of all, I have the floor. Thank you. The conversation with the chancellor on this position was barely a mention, and it was after the board meeting, the day after the board meeting.
You don't have the floor.
Okay. You don't have the floor.
You don't have the floor.
Okay, Jose?
I'm a little disturbed about your accusation that someone, a group or someone is trying to dismantle academic affairs. And nobody has brought the issue, whether you're black, brown, or yellow, except you. Number two, your email this morning to all faculty, I wanted to address it in public speech, but you brought it up, also attacks the ability of community people to exercise their freedom of speech by mentioning two individuals by name. And this is not the first time you do it. I have in my possession minutes of an executive DAS meeting where you did the same And I went from what you said, though, the investigation that you call that is independent, because, like I said, in many occasions, we'll get to the bottom of this.
Thank you. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to shared governance. I do want to share the, we have a shared governance agreement, LA Mission College shared governance agreement, and I think some of you have this. And this is an agreement that's about 10 years old between the administration and the Senate. And it talks about what are some of the areas of purview of the Senate. Now, with this reorganization and a number of other things, I think there are, issues of shared governance here that the Senate has a responsibility to assert. Okay, and the president may not like what the Senate does or the Senate president does, but it's not my job to please the president. My job is to uphold the faculty rights to be involved in the discussion and the decision-making process. And when we have budget cuts, when we have a budget cut and we say we're going to cut X, Y, or Z out of the budget, there has to be a process. There has to be a process where faculty are involved and say, okay, we want to cut, $100,000, $1 million out of this budget. Faculty have to have a voice and sit down. Where is that going to come out of? Okay, it cannot be the president saying, "This is what I'm doing. Here you go. See you later." That's not how it works. And if you look at our shared governance agreement, we specify, what the roles of the Senate are here. And these policies include processes for institutional planning and budget development. So when we make a cut, and it's not only our agreement for accreditation. When they come next year, they're going to say, okay, you guys made cuts. What was the process that was followed? What was the involvement of the faculty? Okay, we are setting ourselves up for problems if we don't have a process here. If it's a unilateral decision by the president. And, I have a lot of respect for the president. However, I am going to stand up for something if I believe that it's not done correctly. The other thing that I want to mention here is that there will be consultation between the college president and the Senate with regard to the filling of administrative positions. Now, filling of administrative positions, who do we hire? Who do we get rid of? That, in my view, is a Senate purview. Okay? So we have this agreement. You may or may not disagree with it. However, I strongly believe that the faculty, if we're going to sit down and say, let's remove an administrator, the faculty have to have a voice and say, okay, well, let's take a look at all the administrators, okay, and see, is this the best one to eliminate? We have to have that discussion. And I solicited input from faculty when the reorg went out, and I got about 10 responses. One of them was in favor of eliminating this position, 8 were against it, and 1 person had a number of questions. So there are a lot of people who had a lot of concerns about eliminating this dean position and the impact it would have on the vocational programs in particular. So I just want to make sure that we follow shared governance. And believe me, more cuts are coming. Okay? And all of our programs, all of the positions are going to be looked at real hard. And we need to have a process. We need to follow process here. It's really about process. It's not about this person or that person. It's about process and whether or not the faculty have a voice in that process.